I'm 44 years old, and my wife is 46. We've been married for 22 years, and we have 3 children, a 20-year-old son, a 15-year-old daughter, and an 11-year-old daughter. Our life together had its ups and downs, but I always believed that we would grow old together. But everything changed in 2022. That year, I made the decision to ask for a divorce. It wasn't a decision I took lightly, but after so many years of fighting, misunderstandings, and growing apart, I thought it was time. I moved out of our home and we spent several months apart. However, something unexpected happened during that time. We started talking again. We began dating just like we did when we were younger. Slowly, it seemed like we were rebuilding what we had lost over the years. It was fragile but hopeful, and for a while, I believed we were on the path to a fresh start. But then, a few months ago, things started to shift again. My wife, a psychotherapist specializing in dialectical behavior therapy, DBT, began growing more distant. At first, I didn't think much of it. She had always been a hard-working woman, often overwhelmed by the high needs clients she worked with. She would tell me how difficult some of her sessions were, how emotionally draining they could be. I always supported her, telling her that I understood the pressures of her job. After all, she was helping people work through their deepest struggles. But as time passed, I began to notice something odd. She became more and more absent, both emotionally and physically. One night, I decided to check the car tracking widget on my phone. My wife had borrowed my Tesla, and I noticed that her car was parked at a random apartment complex at 3 a.m. I tried to convince myself that maybe she was just working late or meeting a client. But something about the situation didn't sit right with me. I confronted her the next morning when she came home. She was unusually evasive, brushing it off as if it were no big deal. She claimed that she had been visiting a new friend from work, someone she had met recently. They had made plans to meet earlier, but timing got mixed up, and she ended up hanging out late. I tried to stay calm and rational, but it didn't feel right. She had always been open with me about her friendships, but this felt different. Why didn't she just tell me the truth from the beginning? I let it go for a few days, but the unease I felt didn't subside. I pushed her again, and after some hesitation, she finally gave me the guy's name. She admitted that she had gone to see him, but she insisted that there was nothing romantic or inappropriate going on. She assured me that she wouldn't see him outside of work anymore. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But the gut feeling I had told me something wasn't right. A few weeks later, I discovered that she had gone back to his apartment. She stayed there until 6 a.m. I confronted her again, and this time she claimed that she had too much to drink and had simply fallen asleep on his couch. Her story seemed flimsy, but she insisted that nothing happened, and it was just a misunderstanding. When I pressed further, she asked for space. She told me she needed a week to clear her head. I didn't know what to think. I agreed to give her space, but deep down, I knew something was off. That week, I spent my time doing something I'm not proud of. I started digging. I found his Instagram, his phone number, and his address. I reached out to him, hoping that if he was truly just a friend, he would have no problem setting the record straight. His response was anything but reassuring. He called me a little beefy and told me to leave him alone. That reaction confirmed everything I had feared. I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the story than my wife was letting on. I decided to confront him in person. I drove to his apartment, and when he came downstairs, he didn't try to deny anything. He insulted me repeatedly, calling me names and telling me to get lost. I tried to stay calm, but I had to know the truth. I asked him, "What's going on with my wife?" He refused to answer, and then, in an unexpected move, he shoved me to the ground. I was taken aback, but I didn't want to escalate things. I left the apartment immediately. When I got home, I confronted my wife once again. I told her about my interaction with the guy, how he had reacted, and how I knew something was wrong. This time, she didn't deny it. She broke down in front of me and admitted to having a light affair. It wasn't physical, she claimed, but there were emotional connections, texts, memes, late-night conversations. She said it was nothing to be concerned about and that I was overreacting. She insisted that nothing had crossed the line, but I knew better. How could I ignore the way things had unfolded? How could I believe that this light affair was innocent? The pain I felt was overwhelming. I didn't know how to process it, but for the sake of our family, we tried to talk through it. We went to music festivals together, spent time with our children, and even tried to be intimate again. For a while, it felt like we were rebuilding something, but the doubts and the questions were always in the back of my mind. Then came a moment that would change everything. In August, my wife bought a new Tesla. I was helping her set up the car's account when I noticed something strange. She went silent when she realized that I could see her car's location, just like she could see mine. I told her that I had nothing to hide, but she insisted that we should have separate accounts. This was another red flag. The very next night, I drove past the apartment complex where I knew the guy lived. Sure enough, my wife's car was parked right outside. I couldn't take it anymore. I texted both of them, asking her to come out and talk, but she refused. I went home, waiting for her to return. That's when I had a feeling that something else was going on. I decided to check her room. I know it wasn't the right thing to do, but I found a journal sitting on her work table. The temptation to read it was too strong. I took it, and when I read it, my world came crashing down. The journal revealed everything. The guy she was seeing wasn't just some random friend. He was one of her DBT clients, a man diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, BPD. Her journal was filled with details about their sessions, some lasting as long as 6 hours. She described moments of inappropriate physical contact, kisses, dry humping, and sexual conversations. She spoke of their emotional connection, fantasizing about a life with him while simultaneously grappling with guilt and shame. She knew it was wrong, but she couldn't stop. When my wife came home, I confronted her with what I had discovered. She broke down in tears, begging me not to report her to the Board of Behavioral Health. She was terrified that her career and reputation would be destroyed. I couldn't just let it go. She had betrayed my trust in the worst way possible. I left that night and immediately scheduled a session with my therapist to begin processing everything. The aftermath of her actions was devastating. I knew I couldn't stay in a marriage where such deep violations of trust existed. I reported her to the board, and an investigation was launched. She also self-reported, knowing that there was no escaping the consequences of her actions. The investigation is ongoing, but I am confident that it will result in serious repercussions for her professional life. As for me, I am focused on healing. I am seeing my therapist regularly, staying steady with my medication, and trying to rebuild my life. My marriage is over, but I still feel the emotional weight of everything that has happened. My children are affected, and I fear that this will have lasting consequences on our family. I still sometimes wonder if there was something I missed, some sign that I didn't see, some clue that could have prevented all of this from happening. But at the end of the day, I have to accept that she made her choices, and I can't change them. I'm moving forward, one step at a time, focusing on healing and trying to make sense of everything that happened. It's not easy, but I know I have to keep going for myself and for my children. Thank you for reading. This journey has been one of betrayal, pain, and ultimately, personal growth. It's never easy to confront the hard truths of a broken relationship, but it's through these challenges that we find our strength. If you've experienced something similar, or if this story resonated with you, please share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your perspective and support each other in this community. And if you found this story insightful or helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content on navigating difficult life experiences, healing from heartbreak, and finding strength in adversity. Thank you for listening, and remember, no matter what you're going through, you're not alone. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.